Hey family, welcome to Joshua 10. I want to let you know, in case you were wondering, what happened to 9, Kandi? We already did 9 like 2 weeks ago. Okay, we covered it like 2 weeks ago. So there is a playlist that is made and I will link it down under. You can click on it and go ahead and view 9. Of course, there's a study guide available for each and every chapter that we are covering here, and it's located on CandyNicoleArise.com underneath study guides. So let's get into 10 today. Well, in 9, we saw some deception going on, and there was some lessons that even we can learn for our life. Part of the reason why the Lord is having me teach over here in Joshua is because a lot of you have crossed over into new territory, and there's new things that you're coming into that you haven't faced in the past. You have walked into your promised land, but as we see, Joshua must take his stuff. It's not just being handed over to him. I mean, the Lord is making it pretty easy for him. I ain't gonna lie, okay? Lord giving him some breaks here and there. But he still has to get up and go where the Lord is telling him to go. And so that's our lesson here, is that the Lord is telling us that we have to get up and go. And he wants us to be courageous and go out and conquer the things that he says that is for us. Today, we're going to talk about the day the sun stood still. Okay, P.S. I am going to butcher names, okay? And I'm sure you do too. You butcher names. So just want to make that very clear. I am no different than you. And so I'm going to be butchering some people's names today. All right. So now King Adoni-Zedek of Jerusalem heard that Joshua had captured Ai and completely destroyed it, treating Ai and its king just as he had Jericho and its king. And all the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were living among them. Yeah, he heard they made peace, but he didn't know exactly how they did it. Okay, we know how they did it. They was deceptive. They fooled the people. They made a contract, a pact with them, and now they can't go against, when they put the Lord's name on it, they can't go against what it is they said they would do by going ahead and making an alliance with Gibeon, okay? Gibeon. So, verse 2, Abozek and his people were greatly alarmed because Gibeon was a large city, like the one of the royal cities. It was larger than Ai, and all its men were warriors. Therefore, King Adonai of Jerusalem sent word to King Hadam of Hebron, King Piram of Jermeth, King Jeremiah of Lachish, and King Dubai of Elgon, saying, "Come up and help me. We will attack Gibeon, because they have made peace with Joshua and the Israelites." So about 5 Amorite kings, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jerman, Lachish, and Egon, joined forces, advanced with all their armies, besieged Gibeon, and fought against it. All right, let's stop right here. Gibeon, at first, the way that Gibeon came, you would think that Gibeon, they were some scary cats. I mean, they were some scary cats because of what they did. But you would think that they would be weak. But it says that these people were big. They were bigger than Ai, the city. And they had warriors. That means they had some fighters. They could fight and defend themselves, but they were smart in the spirit. They were spiritually smart. Spiritually smart enough to understand that the God that was with these Israelites, we can't stand against this God. It doesn't matter how much might we may have in the physical. He's not with us. So we need to figure out a way to get these people on our side and save ourselves, okay? So the rest of the kings, I'm pretty sure, are not aware of the deception that just happened. They're just aware, some kind of way they came into an alliance with the Israelites. So now that they're with them, we have to come up against them. And one thing that I have not given you guys a map or anything, but I'm letting you know. What's happening here is they're dividing and conquering. So what Joshua is doing is there's a territory of land that he's coming to get. But what he's doing is he's going up the middle of it right now. He's taking the middle of the territory. That way he can now hit this side and hit that side. But he has this central place right now that he is in. So right now, these kings are concerned because Joshua is in the middle of all of them. What is he going to do next? So they're joining forces together to come against the Israelites because they are looking at the physical part. They're not looking at the fact that their God is with them, okay? That they don't stand a chance with whoever they come with because God is with them, okay? So they're afraid and they gather together. In verse 6, the men of Gibeon sent word to Joshua in the camp of Gilgal. Don't give up your servants. Come quickly and save us. Help us. For all the Amorite kings living in the hill country have joined forces against us. So Joshua and all his troops, including his best soldiers, came to Gilgal. The Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid of them, for I've handed them over to you. Not one of them will be able to stand against you. So Joshua caught them by surprise. After marching all night from Gilgal, the Lord threw them into confusion. Before Israel, he defeated them in a great slaughter at Gibeon, chased them through the ascents of Bethel Horon, and struck down as far as Azek and Migash, and they fled before Israel. The Lord threw large hailstones on them from the sky along the descent of Belthron all the way to Azek, and they died. More of them died from hail than the Israelites killed by the sword. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to the Israelites, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the presence of Israel. Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon over the valley of Akoth. And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on its enemies. Isn't it this written in the book of Jashar? So the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed its settling almost a full day. There has been no day like it before it or since, when the Lord listened to a man because the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua and all of Israel with him returned to the camp at Gilgal. So I want to go back up a little bit, you guys, and I want to bring back to your attention, first of all, these people, these Gibeonites that came and made a treaty, they were never weak people. They were just spiritually smart enough to know that they couldn't come against the Israel's God, okay? So that's why they made the covenant. But they also had armies themselves. So when Joshua went up, they came with their army and Joshua came with his army. Also, the Lord tells Joshua, I've given it over to you. So Joshua has a confidence, so confident that he tells his men, let's go. And they march throughout the night. Y'all, it was dark. Like, they didn't have street lights, okay? It was dark. They marched the whole night to get to the Gibeonites in order to fight this battle, okay? And as they are going up, they're surprising these people because normally at night people stop, they rest, they camp, they go to sleep. They don't march at night where there's no light other than the skylight, okay? It's dark, all right? So they were confused as they were coming up on them. And as they came up on them, what happens is the Lord begins to hail down on these people. And you could be like, oh, that's no big deal in a way. I mean, I had a hailstorm. They had a hailstorm that just struck them down. Not one Israelite was hit with any of this hail. So this hailstorm came and struck these people down. Then the Israelites come in with the sword, okay? So more people were killed by the hail than the sword. So the Lord literally fought the battle for them. All they needed to do was show up. There will be times where the Lord will fight the battle for us, and all we need to do is show up. And then this is a sign of God's grace because, of course, these Gibeonites, they made this contract, this pact with Joshua, And it basically was under false pretenses, right? And Joshua didn't go to the Lord like he should have before he made this contract with these people. But this is even far more showing God's grace towards his people, towards the Israelites, towards Joshua, even though they kind of made a boo-boo by making this contract with the Gibeonites. Not only does the Lord show up for them and defeat their enemies, he's taking down 5 at a time, baby. Not one little kingdom was coming up against them, but 5 at a time. He slayed 5 down at one time, okay? So then Joshua speaks to the sun, and it stands still. I don't know why any of y'all would have a hard time believing that, but let's just say you do, okay? Let's just say you do. Let's remember the God that we serve, and let's go right back to the first page up in this Bible, okay? The first verse in the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the surface of the watery depths, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the water. Then God said, let there be light. And there was light. Bam! So all he got to do is open his mouth. All God got to do is open his mouth, and light appeared. So why would he be able to tell the light, hey, stand still? Okay? God honored the words that came out of Joshua's mouth, and it stood still. The sun stood still, and they handled their business on that field. They slaughtered who they needed to slaughter so they can win that battle. They didn't have to fight at nighttime or any of that. There was no cover of the night. The Lord allowed everything to stand still so Joshua could take care of his business on that field, and he did. All right, let's go over to verse 16. It says, now the 5 defeated kings had fled and hidden in the cave of Mekadoc. It was reported to Joshua, the 5 kings have been found. They are hiding in the cave of Mekadoc. Joshua said, roll large stones against the mouth of the cave and station men by it to guard the kings. But as far as the rest of you, don't stay there. Pursue your enemies and attack them from behind. Don't let them enter their cities, for the Lord your God has handed them over to you. So Joshua and the Israelites finished inflicting a terrible slaughter on them until they were destroyed. Although a few survivors ran away to the fortified cities, the people returned safely to Joshua in the camp of Mekadoc, and no one dared to threaten the Israelites. Then Joshua said, open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings to me. That is what they did. They brought the 5 kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, Elgon, to Joshua out of the cave. When they had brought the kings to him, Joshua summoned all the men of Israel and said to the military commanders who had accompanied him, come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings. So the commanders came forward and put the feet on the necks. Joshua said to them, do not be afraid, do not be afraid, and do not be discouraged, okay? Let me repeat that for y'all. I kind of, Don't be afraid or discouraged. Be strong and courageous. I told y'all to write that down and put it on your refrigerator, okay? Because you will need to stand on that word as we go forward. As you walk into your promised land, this is the word to stand on. God keep repeating this. It keeps getting repeated. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Be strong and courageous. For the Lord will do all to all the enemies you fight. Okay? For the Lord will do this to all the enemies you fight. He is going to fight your battles. He brings the victory. It's already guaranteed to you that the Lord will bring the victory. Some of you might have been waiting for a while for your victory. You have the victory in Christ Jesus. You've already won it, despite what it looks like. Think about what it looks like for Joshua. 5 kingdoms. He's fighting 5 different cities at one time, and the Lord's bringing it all down for him. The victory was already his. The Lord made that clear to him before he even went into the battle. Pick it up, y'all. Pick it up for yourself. The victory is already yours, all right? Verse 26. After this, Joshua struck them down and executed them, hung their bodies on 5 trees, and they were until evening, and there they were until evening. At sundown, Joshua commanded that they be taken down from the trees and thrown into the cave where they had hidden. The large stones were placed against the mouth of the cave, and the stones are still there today. All right, let's go down a little bit more. It says in verse 28, on that day Joshua captured Kadesh and struck it down with the sword, including its kings. He completely destroyed it and everyone and everything in it, leaving no survivors. So he treated the kings of Kadesh as he had the king of Jericho. Joshua and all the Israelites with him crossed from Kadesh to Libeath and fought against Libeath. The Lord also handed it and its king over to Israel. He struck it down, putting everyone in it to the sword, and left no survivors in it. He treated Libeath's king as he had the king of Jericho. From Libeath, Joshua and all the Israelites with him crossed to Lebadesh. They laid siege to it and attacked it. The Lord handed Lebadesh over to the Israelites, and Joshua captured it on the second day. He struck it down, putting everyone to the sword, just as he done in Lebanon. And at that time, the king of Haram of Gezer went to help Lebadesh, but Joshua struck him down along with all his people. Again, no survivors, okay? There's nobody that came out talking about, I'm a survivor. No, not nobody. Not one. No, everybody perished, all right? Verse 34, then Joshua crossed from Lebadesh to Elgon, and all the Israelites with him laid siege to it and attacked it. On that day, they captured it and struck it down, putting everyone in it to the sword. He completely destroyed it in that day, just as he done Lebadesh. Next, Joshua and all the Israelites with him went up from Elton to Hebron and attacked it. And guess what they did? You already know. They captured it, struck it down, and its kings and its villages and everyone in it with the sword. He left no survivors, just that he had done to Elgon. He completely destroyed Hebron and everyone in it. Finally, Joshua turned towards Debri and attacked it, and all of Israel with him. He captured it, its king and all of its villages. They struck them down with the sword and completely destroyed everyone in it, leaving no survivors. He treated Deborah as the king as he treated Hebron and its king. So Joshua conquered the whole region, the hill country, the Negev, the Gibeon foothills, and the slopes with their kings, leaving no survivors. He completely destroyed every living being as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua conquered everyone from Hittish, Beerah to Gaza, and all the lands of Goshen as far as Gibeon. Joshua captured all these kings and their land in one campaign because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all of Israel to the camp at Gilgal. I want y'all to know something. The reason why these people are being totally and utterly destroyed is because they have no relationship with God. And I mean nada, none, zilzada, okay? They are living completely and total opposite. They're worshiping false gods. They're living in perversion. They doing basically all the things that made Sodom and Gomorrah fall, okay? That's the ways in which they living. They're living real ratchet out here in these streets, okay? So the Lord is completely and utterly destroying. That's why nobody, nothing is living, okay? That's why the only person, he kept saying that girl name over and over again, the prostitute. That's why. Because she was a limited edition of people that would survive what it is that was coming forth for these people. She was 1 in a million, all right? So that's why she keeps getting brought up all the time, all right? Because there's so many people that were completely and utterly destroyed in this land, in this region. The Lord took no pity on these people, completely removing them. Now, Now you see why these people from Gibeon, they was a little deceptive because they understood. They understood business. They understood that this God of Israel, this Israel God, this is the real deal. You know that little ball thing we be worshiping? We be asking for rain. It comes sometime, but most of the time it don't. This ain't the same kind of God, okay? This is a God that don't play. That's about his business. So what we gonna do, that's fine. We can be your slaves. We'll get you buckets of water, whatever you want. They went from mighty warriors to we'll be happy to go and fetch your water, to cut your wood. We'll do whatever you like because we understand who it is that you serve, all right? And today, many of you need to understand who it is that you serve, that the Lord brings the victory. And he's wanting us to walk in a power, in authority, understanding that he is backing us as his children as we're walking into our new season, as we're walking into the promised land. You can't walk hunchback no more. You are no longer in the wilderness. You are now in your promised land. You have your crown on your head. You understand who you are. You're rooted in the word. You got your little sword and everything, okay? You got your full armor on. You coming to take what is yours because you understand that victory is already yours. Again, a study guide is available for this on CandyNicoleArise.com, and I will see you tomorrow for our next chapter.